And we are live for our first full actual session, because we did have our little session 0 of Starfinder, but this is our first actual session here today. And normally, for the beginning of a new campaign, we wouldn't be able to ask this, but since I've kind of jury-rigged 2 of the campaigns together, I can ask it anyway. Does anyone remember what happened last time?
Kawa killed
Akai Heavy.
Akai Heavy. I can never say his name.
Akintepi, the first.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to remember Wayne's new character's name.
And there was session, and we woke up in a space laboratory.
We're so woke, man.
Yeah, and the waking up was kind of from Wayne's character's perspective. And so he was waking up and he saw a hologram in front of him of this weird bone lady.
Bone lady.
Bone lady.
Dun dun dun. And,
she's a weird bone lady, but I would not bone that lady.
Well, you see, the thing is, the odds are good, but the goods are odd. So, yeah, and as he was waking up and kind of coming out of whatever was going on, he was suspended in some sort of a tube, and eventually was let out and kind of grabbed and lifted up by a robot. And he also noticed, already out of her tube and on the ground, a naked alien lady with antenna. And also realized, as he was looking at himself, that he was like a mouse dude, covered in hair and having little, like, I don't know, semi-humanoid paw/hands. I'm sure getting used to having a giant nose and whiskers in your peripheral vision is a little interesting. So this time, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go over a little bit of the same territory, except this time it's going to be from Rebecca's character's perspective. So, cool. Rebecca, you had just... Well, are we going canon as you killed him, or canon is that he got his heart back? Which one are we saying actually happened?
I think we had decided that canon was going to be the one where I died.
Okay. So you...
Okay, hang on, I gotta get the door. Can you pause the recording?
No, it's a live stream, but we can wait for you.
Okay, wait for me. Yes.
Somebody always asks if we can pause the live stream.
I know, except normally it's you.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys don't want to keep her? Okay.
Now, if one of you wanted to download the videos and edit them, to cut out parts like this, that's a thing that could happen.
Maybe. We'll see.
Why are you so grumpy today, young lady? Here. Okay. Done.
Okay, so you have just recently, after discovering that your beloved was actually already dead, and his body and life had kind of been taken over by some 2-bit hussy, you decided that if you couldn't have him, nobody could, and that especially counted as someone else being him. So you decided to go ahead and kill the creature you knew as Megane, and then after dramatically revealing your intentions to it, you then exited and were swimming back toward freedom and land. Presumably your intention was to go back into the wilderness and go back to your life as a kitsune spirit. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. But as you're swimming, suddenly everything around you, the water, which was blue and clear and cool, changes. It's immediately goes pitch black and begins to feel as though it's bubbling and boiling against your skin. Your first impression is that perhaps some giant sea monster has surprised you and swallowed you whole, or a kraken has shot forth an inky blast of boiling ink. However, as you flail wildly, attempting to swim away from this area, you realize quite quickly that you are contained in a circular, well, not circular, I guess, technically. Well, it is circular. It's just not spherical. Anyway, semantics. In a circular object of some kind, the edges are smooth, etc. As your vision slowly comes to, the water around you begins to feel less as though it were boiling and more as if it were warm and soothing. You feel very cold inside, but your body seems to have taken to the cryogenic storage significantly better than wreckage did. But you do feel extremely weak, as if you had been laid up in bed for several months, and eventually the liquid around you begins to drain, and your vision continues to clear, and you see around you this lab that you can see on the screen, and so a holographic figure of a skull lady with an elongated cranium is kind of peering in toward you and seems pleased and with whatever she's seeing as she reads some sort of a screen on the outside of your tube, and she presses a button on something that she's holding, and your tube slides open, with the remaining about 3 inches of fluid spilling out along with you sliding onto the floor as you float through her incorporeal holographic body. You try to speak, but all that comes out are kind of croaking noises. And you hear the figure saying, "Oh, don't try speaking just yet. It'll be a minute before your body recovers. You've been in there for some time." And then kind of dismisses you and walks over to the other tube. The first thing you notice as you look at the other tube is that there's a small, I don't know whether he's more, are you more rat or more mouse, Wayne?
More rat.
Okay. There's a small rat-like figure, about 3 feet tall or so, floating suspended in some sort of blue gel. As you look around you, you eventually look down at yourself. What color is your skin, Rebecca?
Let's go with green.
Okay. You're surprised at first to see, as you look at your hands, that they are covered in soft green skin. You feel as though, for some reason, you expected to see, light cream-colored skin, but you can't quite remember why that was. As you try to sort out your memories, you feel this just blurry haze and a jumbled mess of various memories, most of which don't mesh together or make any sense. You have this strange feeling of doubling in your mind, as if two distinct realities are battling against one another. both incompatible and unable to make any sense of the mess in your head. You kind of just shake it off. Do you want to do anything other than just kind of lie there and attempt to recover and catch your breath?
Nope.
Okay, so that's exactly what you do. Eventually, the burning, the hot sensation on your skin and the chilled sensation inside of you does ease, especially as a robot rolls up and after kind of popping out from its spherical state, placing six little walking legs underneath itself, it reaches out with two little grasping arms that come out of its chassis, holding a blanket that it was clutching to its chest. It attempts to kind of flip it over you and wrap it around your shoulders.
That's nice.
Yeah. So that. Yeah, you're shivering at this point. Certainly, but after you're given this warm blanket, it seems to be made out of some sort of very smooth material, and it's quite thin, but it's much warmer than you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
And the shivering does slow down. You can see the hologram of the Bone Lady beginning to press some buttons on the machine that the hologram is holding, some sort of flat device. And you can see the
Does the device appear to be holographic?
It is, yeah, it's something that the person who is casting the hologram is physically holding.
Okay.
And then it's just showing up on the hologram.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, she presses some buttons, and you see the liquid around. You see the lights around the tube that the Ratman is in begin to flash, and some beeping happening, and then the gel begins to shiver, and then it goes from being a gel, like a thick gel, to being liquid, sloshing lightly around. It changes from its blue color to a clearish, slightly reddish color, and you see after a few seconds the rat begins to twitch and move, and then eventually to writhe and to flail about as if trying to escape, eventually going through similar what you would assume a similar experience to yours. And then after about 2 to 3 minutes, the capsule, after having drained most of the gel, once again opens up, and this little naked rat man is sloshes out next to you. So you are now caught up to where you were after our last time, Wreckage. So this robot comes up to you and kind of helps you to your feet, and then the little screen on it makes these very little, they're like little worried faced emojis with little squinted eyes show up on the screen that goes across its face, and you hear a robotic modulated voice going, "Good morning, Master. I hope that you are feeling well after your long nap." If you try to respond, Wreckage, you, similarly to Kima, which we'll go ahead and I'll start using your character names. Not that your characters know these are your names yet, so I'll point that out. But Rebecca is playing Kima, a Lashunta, and Wayne is playing Wreckage, a Isoki. And and I guess I should say Kima is a Karasha Lashunta. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but it's the more warrior dimorphic variant of the Lashunta. So Wreckage, I would assume you kind of like try to say something, and then it just comes out as like raspy squeaks.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. I was going to say that I probably, upon seeing all these things I don't recognize from feudal Japan because I'm still on that kick.
Well, did you
probably
your memories are exactly the same as Kima's right now, where you have it's all blurry, and you at first you were surprised to see that you were a rat, and then now you can't figure out why that was. Like I said, there's this strange doubling sensation when you try to think back to anything in your past, where there are these incompatible realities that are conflicting and just causing your memories to go completely out of whack.
Ah, okay. So yeah, then I tried to speak, and what you said happened.
Okay. So he goes, there, master, you are all right now. And so he's going to wrap you in a blanket as well. So
I'm just seeing this robot like Sheldon right now. There, wraps me in a blanket.
I mean, it's sort of like that, where it's all like this awkward thing where it's like, pat, there, master.
So cute.
Yeah,
Gives me a cup of tea. I'm like, I don't want tea.
Yeah, he offers Kima hot cocoa, and then just
I take the hot cocoa.
and then offers you hot cocoa. At least it's some sort of hot chocolatey beverage. It's probably not actually hot cocoa. So a floating many-armed robot then comes into the area and begins to kind of examine you, doing various scans and probing you rather uncomfortably, while the skeleton lady kind of watches and says, "Once you're in a few minutes, your voices should return to you, and then we can discuss what I'm sure is a very disorienting situation for the both of you. In the meantime, Cleric Bot 288 here is doing some routine diagnostics just to make sure that you've come out of the cryogenic stasis without any, shall we say, complications. At least unforeseen complications. Cryogenic stasis of this duration.
I don't know what your toaster about.
What?
I said, I don't know what your toaster about.
Dun dun dun.
Unforeseen complications? No.
Yeah, no, I got it. But
it just wasn't as funny as I thought it was.
Cryogenic stasis of this duration never goes off entirely without a hitch. So after a few minutes, she's kind of sliding her finger along this device that she's holding and seems to be reading it. And eventually she seems satisfied with what she sees. And then says, "Okay, if you two would be so kind as to follow me and Sparky here, I'll show you to your rooms and you can get dressed. And then I'd like to meet with you. We can discuss the current situation and get you up to speed." So
that'd be great.
At this point,
somewhat sarcastically.
Yeah. Yes, I'm aware that you certainly do have some concerns at the moment, and they are valid. Don't worry, I will address all of them as much as I can. Now come along, please. So I'm assuming you follow her and the robot. At this point, you're still you're still very wobbly. Rec, as kind of being smaller, you seem to be kind of bouncing back a little bit faster. It's a little easier for you to get back up on your feet. But Kima, you end up with the robot kind of helping to steady you as you go along, and she leads you down a short hallway off to the side of the room. There's a lot of high technology around you, but you don't. If you're looking for any other frozen people, you don't see any. And so she leads you.
What about frozen rat people?
Nope. So she leads you back past what appears to be some sort of a mess hall type area, and then through to another hallway that has a number of doors going off of it to either side. She opens 2 of them on opposite sides of the hallway with a wave of her hand, and they slide open on their own, and she says, "Very well, you can take whichever you like. They're identical. Clothes will be provided to you. As after you enter. Once you have clothed yourselves, please come back out, and Sparky will show you to the conference room where we can discuss business."
Okay, so Kala goes into the left-hand room.
Okay. Rek also goes into the left-hand room.
Mm-hmm.
So Kala is going to kick Rek in the butt
Kima.
and go to your own room. That's what I mean. Kima's going to kick Rek in the butt and be like, go to your own room.
So I go to my own room.
Okay. So after going in there, things feel like strangely familiar. You can't remember anything quite, but after you see things, you're able to kind of piece together their purposes seemingly on instinct. And so as you look around, there are fairly sparsely appointed rooms. There is a small shower that is enclosed in, well, you can't tell really, there's just standing on the wall, I guess. So there's a small shower in one corner along with a sink and a toilet. There is a bed in another corner, a kind of a door which you once you open, somehow you knew, based on the symbols that were on it, that this was an Omni closet. Not that you recognize the name, but you recognize the purpose. So after opening it, you're presented. It's kind of like a panel, basically, that slides to the side as you press and then slide it, and you're presented with a screen. And a number of clothing options are displayed on the screen. Flipping through them, what kind of clothing do you pick out?
I'm going to pick out the armor that I'm currently wearing.
Well, no armor is presented. It's all clothing options.
Just clothing options?
Yes.
Probably just something basic.
Okay,
I mean,
so
I don't
like
really
a
care what
hospital
I'm
gown?
wearing that much.
A sundress.
Whatever looks like daily attire for a person of my race and stature.
So a sundress?
You don't know, Wayne. Your character doesn't know.
So just, why don't you think about it for a bit, Rebecca? What does Kima pick out?
Some like comfy pants, so like jersey knit fabrics, like kind of yoga pants that are kind of tight in the butt but loose in the legs, and then like a tight tank top.
Okay. So you kind of like swipe through the options, and then you press a button, and after a couple of seconds, there's a hum from the machine, and then in a slot underneath the screen, opens up, and behind it are your clothing. As you pull them out, they feel as if they had been like freshly ironed. They're kind of like still warm. But you know that they've actually been generated, essentially like future 3D printed on the spot out of basic materials, which are called UPBs. You don't know that yet, but those will be important throughout the game. So UPBs are universal polymer base is what UPB stands for. And they are used to basically build anything. Like they're just a base. They're about the size of a pea. They're a little grayish pellet, and if you have enough of them, you can use them to build pretty much anything you want. So yeah, your clothing is clean and feels warm to the touch as you put it on. But it fits perfectly. The machine,
yes.
I forgot to mention, did scan you kind of when you selected your clothing, it did a little scan before printing your clothing. So, Rec, what do you pick?
I pick whatever is the equivalent of a t-shirt, blue jeans, and a long black leather jacket.
Okay, so you pick that.
Like
exactly.
ankle.
You pick that, but they're
long
like
black leather jacket.
Both of you were talking at the same time, and I couldn't understand a word.
I was just being a pain in the butt.
Okay.
Okay, so you pick out, basically that plus some like little metal studs and spikes, and probably a few neon stripes in there somewhere, just because it's the future. And
kind of like the way that they thought the future would look when they made futuristic films in the 80s.
Yeah, kind of like that, except slightly modernized, where it's like retro cool, but not actually retro. Does Rec have any jewelry, like ear piercings or anything like that?
He has...
You should have 4 ear piercings on one side.
See, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too, was something along those lines.
That's not at all what I was thinking, but I mean, it's not a bad idea. Let's say 3. I have 3 in my right ear and 1 in my left ear.
Okay.
The one in my left ear is kind of like where the ear lobe on a person would be, and then the other 3 are kind of evenly spaced amongst the whole ear.
No, on the top, where the helix would be. So a triple helix piercing. It's on the top where I want my 3.
Okay. I'll follow your lead.
Okay. So you also have it print out some earrings for you. Somehow, much like how you just immediately intuited what this machine was, you also, without actually knowing for sure how, knew that you had these piercings in your ears, so you were able to pop them into the existing holes.
And on the jacket, there's a silver chain that connects to the left shoulder, goes down my back, wraps around, and it connects to the bottom of my jacket on the right.
Cool.
Just because. Why not?
Sure. Okay. So yeah, after Kima actually surprisingly seems to finish getting dressed quite a bit faster, considering her choice of clothing. So you, I would assume after you finish getting dressed, you just kind of go back out into the hallway, or did you have something else you wanted to do?
I just go out in the hallway.
Okay. So Rec is not there yet, or I should say the weird rat man that you seem to be with. But the robot, as you kind of go out, he's leaning against the wall and seems to be humming to himself until he sees you, and then he immediately stops and kind of like does his little centipede walk, because he's got those 3 little legs, over to you and goes, Kima, it is so good to see you awake as well, and looking as great as ever, I should say.
So I kind of clear my throat. It's good to meet you too, again.
Yes, you probably don't remember me after, the thing, but my name is Sparky. I am a helpful robot, and I am one of your best friends. Yes, that is right. I am definitely your best friend. You remember Sparky.
You are a very helpful robot, and adorable.
And so at this...
and I kind of pat his head.
Yeah, and he gets like a little emoji across his face of like the little blushing face with the little equal signs for the blushing cheeks. And he kind of like starts doing like robot purring. So at this point, Rec, you are finished getting dressed. Do you have any tail piercings? Sorry to go back to this, but
you should have like
I only have piercings on my ears.
Okay.
You can have tail piercings and have little spikes in them.
I only have piercings on my ears. Maybe later. We'll see.
You need to
But
get a
right now,
little.
I just
You
have
need to get a
them on
little
ears.
tail knife.
There you go.
You know what I should do? Since most of a rat's tail is like skin, like it has hair on it, but you can see the skin. I should get a tattoo that just like covers the whole tail.
There you go.
Yeah, a glowing neon tattoo because it's the future.
Hmm.
I don't think I want to do that. I want to be able to be somewhat
Yeah,
able
but
to hide in the
you see,
shadows
it
if I need
glows
to.
with nanobots, so it only glows when you tell it to. You can you can deactivate it.
And then one
If
day
the
your
GM says I can do
nanobots.
that, then sure.
And then one day your nanobots malfunction and they start strobing while you're hiding.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so you come as you come out to see Kima kind of petting a very happy looking robot. You gonna do anything?
Yeah. I'm gonna say I'm probably not terribly surprised. I mean, in this life, I know her, right?
You don't remember. You don't remember this robot. You don't remember her. You don't remember how you got here.
She seemed to remember the robot, so I just didn't know if I would remember her and or the robot.
Oh no, Rebecca didn't remember the robot.
Still,
the robot made up everything. She actually probably didn't like him back in her, previous life.
okay.
I have no idea. I'm just responding to it.
That's
No
why
wonder
the
he's so
robot said,
happy.
yes,
He's
I
like,
am
finally.
definitely. That's why the robot said, yes, I am definitely your best friend. Definitely for sure.
I just don't really respond. I guess I'm just kind of taking everything in at this point and trying to figure things out.
Now the silent type, eh?
So far.
Okay, so when you appear, Kima goes, hey, Ratman.
Hi. What was your name again?
I don't know.
Your name is Kima.
There you go. My name's Kima. Good to meet you.
You are the pretty one, and you are named Wreck. Or actually, your full name is Wreckage, but everyone just calls you Wreck. And you are the ugly one who everyone hides from. No, he doesn't actually say that. But he doesn't actually say that. But he says your name is. He says your name is Wreckage, but everyone just calls you Wreck, and you are the funny one.
Mm.
And
The funny one, eh?
Yes, and I am Sparky. I am the adorable sidekick who is the favorite character and will get his own spin-off at some point, I'm sure.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Don't you know what...
But as long as...
Haven't you ever heard of holotainment?
Not that I recall, no. I don't remember anything about holotainment.
It is like...
Is it anything like a play?
It is sort of like a play, only it is as if it were real, as it is all holographic and projected directly into your mind. It is great. I have spent many years with nothing better to do than to watch holoflicks.
Oh, poor little robot. That's what my character says.
Well, if you are both ready, I suppose we should proceed to the conference room.
Cool.
Can you tell us more about this place? I don't really remember much about it.
I am afraid that I am not authorized to give you very much information. I can tell you that you are in a very safe place where you have been for about approximately 32 months. Before that,
wow.
You were stored in a different location. However, I am not authorized to provide you with details on that. Here, you have been thawed out and are now, hopefully, fully operational once again. I would, though, suggest that you check your plumbing just in case. He.
I instantly look down at my crotch and then act like I never did do that.
I can give you details on the specific rooms as we proceed to the conference room if you would like that.
That'd be great, thanks.
Very good. Please follow me. And so he leads you kind of back the way you went. So he's like, this here is the crew quarters. There is a crew complement of 2 and 2 robots on this ship. And you are the 2. So please don't try anything crazy. There.
So where's the other robot?
Oh, that was, I forget what I called him now. Oh yeah, Cleric Bot 246 or something.
Ah,
That's
right.
him there, and he points to the floating robot with all the arms. He is a medical droid who was brought here to ensure your medical attentions were met. And as we proceed, he leads you past the hallway back into the mess room. This here is the mess room. It is currently empty, and as you can see, has been for some time. I suppose that is going to change as you will need to eat soon, but food will be provided as we are in the conference room, and we should probably keep going. So he goes past there back into the room where you were. This is the defrosting room and storage. And so he points over to 2 kind of cylindrical holes in the wall that are currently standing empty. And he says that is where your pods were stored over the last, what did I say, 32 months? Something like that?
Yes, that's what you said, 32 months.
32 months. And they were then transported to there, and he points to where your tubes are currently, in order to begin the defrosting procedure. Proceeding on, and so he leads you out, and you go into another hallway. However, this one is a circular hallway, and with the floor is flat, but all of the walls are a perfect tunnel, and they are clear. As you look out, you can see the huge vastness of space around you. And there are some closer, some farther away. There are ships of all sizes and shapes floating or flying around in this kind of ordered chaos around you. There are very different designs. Some of them look as though they were thrown together out of garbage and used parts. Others are sleek and well designed. All of them kind of passing around each other in this kind of chaotic dance. And this here is a hallway. It is made of transparent steel, as you can see through it as we move on. So unless you're going to press any further, he's not going to explain anything about what's actually around you, because he's just describing the rooms.
What's going on out there?
Oh, that...
Why are all those ships up there?
That is...
He was leaning against the wall, like trying to look down and get dizzy type thing like kids do.
Yeah, so you look down, it's kind of hard to get dizzy because without like something to feel like you're going to fall into, it's just, I mean, it's the same looking down as looking up. There's just, you know, this emptiness and then eventually stars glowing outside. But yeah,
it's safe. For all we know, we could be upside down and cockeyed. We don't know.
It's quite possible. Oh, yes, this out there is the Armada. It is a loose confederation of ships that orbit around, and he points to a kind of back. It was kind of hard to see, but once he points the right direction, you can see it for sure. An enormous spindle-shaped space station. It has, like I said, it's spindle-shaped, so it has a spike coming out of the bottom, a number of wings coming out the side, or arms, I guess I should say, and then a dome along the top. That there is Absalom Station. It is the center of the Packed Worlds, which is the solar system which we are currently in. This is the Armada. It is a loose confederation of ships of various kinds, mercenaries, traders, etc., who, rather than living in or docking with the station, orbit around it, some on a permanent basis, but most of them for various temporary durations. Is there anything else I can answer before we continue?
Yeah, if this is a federation of planets, where did we come from?
I don't quite understand the question. Could you please rephrase that?
What was the words that you used? It was what?
The Packed Worlds.
Packed Worlds are...
It is a solar system made up of a number of planets who have a common pact for mutual self-defense.
Yeah, so my question is, which planet in the pact did we come from?
That is a very difficult question to answer, and one which I do not think I can give you an answer. My time with you came long after your birth, Rek, and I was never privy to the information of your home planet. I can tell you a most likely guess based on your species, but that is unfortunately all I can provide. Would you like that information, or should we continue?
Let's keep going.
Very well.
Come on, little rat man. And I head off down the tunnel.
So he continues down the tunnel. It opens into a kind of a what looks like a control room. There are a number of spaces to sit at in front of control panels. Lots of screens and flashing lights and little floating displays. He says, "This here is the bridge. I would recommend that you do not touch anything until you become more familiar with the ship. Otherwise, you are likely to send us on a crash course that we would not come out of." Over here to the left is the janitor's closet, and over here to the right is the door to the conference room. If you will, please follow me into the right door, not the left one, unless you are the janitor. Ha 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 ha.
Kima opens the janitor door first just to see what's in it.
Yeah, so there's like space mops and space buckets and space brooms.
Closes the door.
Is there a little trash can on wheels that runs around going beep boop?
No, it's but there is a little trash can that for no reason is levitating, because evidently that's helpful in the future.
Nice.
The mop bucket also levitates rather than rolling. It's like one of those effects where it's actually on wheels, but they just, cut it out with CGI later so that it looks like it's floating. So as you enter the other door, there's a room with a kind of a long table. There's seating for probably 3 on either side, and then 1 at the either end. Sitting at the end, at the opposite end of the room, is a projection of the Skull Lady that you've seen before. She's sitting, looking rather reposed, with her fingers steepled. And as you enter, she nods to you and says, "Please take a seat. Food shall be provided shortly, and we can begin discussing our business. And I can answer what I'm sure are a number of pressing questions, if you haven't already managed to worm them out of little Sparky there."
So I sit kind of cross-legged on the chair.
Do you do like the thing where you like turn the chair around backward and then sit facing the wrong way?
Yes.
I hop up onto one of the chairs, and then seeing that it's a little bit of a height challenge, sitting in the chair and seeing up over the table. I climb up onto the arm of the chair and sit cross-legged on it.
Okay, when you do that, you accidentally sit on a button and the chair starts like rising up.
And spinning.
I squeak and I jump onto the floor and land on all fours, stand up, shake myself off, and like dust my legs and stuff off, and then I just get back on the chair like nothing happened and look around like hoping nobody saw that.
Yeah, everybody saw it though. So yeah, you can adjust the height of your chair if you want to. Even
so once I'm in the chair, I do so. It's one of those scenes where it's like I push the button and it's like it gets up too high and I'm like
so,
and then I stop.
Okay. So she says, if you're quite done. Well, shall we begin then? So she presses a button and your chair is disabled. You can't move it anymore.
Kimo like slaps him though. And it's like, okay, let's go. Or start talking.
Very good. I suppose I should begin with the obvious. You have been in cryogenic stasis for some time. I am not going to tell you how long or any of that information. It's much more fun to let you find that out as you go. But I shall say...
How useful.
I shall say that you have been brought back for a very specific purpose. You see, I have reason to believe there are very big things afoot right now, and I need some agents to keep an eye on the situation, make sure things run smoothly, represent my interests in a subtle manner. I am rather confident that the two of you will do excellently. I paid top price for the two of you. Real heroes, not any of these mercenaries or anything like that, but true, honest-to-goodness heroes. And I believe you should be able to, at the very least, stay alive for some time, given your skills and aptitudes.
So we're heroes, huh?
Yeah, in a manner of speaking.
That's interesting, because you're focusing on the fact that we're heroes, and I'm like still over here like we were bought and paid for? What?
Do you say that? Or
I was just about to say, why would a hero be bought and paid for?
That is in fact what I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what you said in response?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well...
Basically, we're on the same page, it sounds like.
Well, you know, there's always someone willing to provide what anyone else is willing to purchase for the right price. I'm sure you can understand that, Rek. You've done your fair share of illegal trading, though you may not remember it at the moment.
Why am I not surprised?
Yes, given the duration of your stasis, significant memory loss is to be expected. In addition, it is not uncommon for people who have been in stasis for a very long time to have strange memory gaps and other issues. I'm sure you'll have no trouble whatsoever overcoming them, though, given your pedigrees. So, I would like our relationship to be as amicable as possible, but I should be rather clear. As I said, I have certain interests which I need to ensure are upheld, and you are going to do that. I would like to make sure that it is as voluntary on your part as possible, but unfortunately, if that is not the case, I do have means of ensuring your cooperation, and you will be closely monitored at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to start with, I need you to answer this summons. And so she kind of presses a button, and two small data pads are kind of dropped in front of you from somewhere in the roof. As you pick them up, you can see on them that there is a summons written, and it says, greetings and welcome, fellow adventurer. If you've a taste for high adventure and setting the universe right, then you should join the Starfinder community. There's no better group of adventurers out there, and you'll be able to sate your insatiable hunger for adventure in all kinds of worlds. And it kind of has this long propaganda message. And then as you swipe to the next one, which is instead of like a propaganda pamphlet, it's a specific message, and it says, based on your inquiry and interest in becoming Starfinders, I'd be happy to sponsor your enlistment. If you would meet me on the dock 94 of Absalom Station, I shall meet you and greet you, and I can provide you board as you are joining our esteemed ranks. Welcome aboard what I hope to be two fine fellow Starfinders. And then at the bottom, it is signed Dorvor Creel.
Okay, seems like as good a place to start as any.
Yes, I will provide you a transport, which will take you to Dock 94. From there, as I said, you will be monitored, but I will do my best not to interrupt you over much in your work. I do hope that you can take care of yourselves and don't need too much babysitting. I
don't suppose, being slaves and all, that we get any credits for this work.
Oh, don't worry. The work that you'll be doing is incredibly lucrative. You won't need any provisions from me in that area, though. It is possible, depending on your performance, that certain bonuses and other perks can be provided to you. Now, basic gear.
Well, considering all of the gaps that we have in our memory and everything, what exactly are you? Who are you? And what is it that you're hoping for us to achieve?
Well, as for what you need to achieve, that shall become clearer over time. I don't believe you'll be able to miss the strange goings-on in the station. And as for what I am, I can tell you I am an Librian. Not that that means anything to you right now. Who I am, on the other hand, well, you may call me the Patron.
Good enough.
Yes.
You mean you don't care to know more about this person that bought us?
Not really. I mean, we've got a job to do. Let's get it done.
And I shouldn't be... I should imagine you would understand that I'm not going to be forthcoming much beyond that either way, so your asking more questions would be pointless anyway. Now, basic supplies shall be provided for you, including gear, before you leave the ship, and you will be escorted to the station where you should be left. This ship shall then return back to Eox, so don't expect to be using this as some sort of a home base or anything. So kind of as she's talking at this point, the medical robot kind of comes in carrying trays of steaming food. It's all fairly, it's nothing harsh. It's fairly soft and easily digestible foods. The robot seems to expect that your stomachs are probably a bit on edge still at this point. But it does smell appetizing, though it is difficult to identify what it is for certain.
Kima's just gonna dig in. Not very hesitant.
Okay.
Me too.
Good. I'm glad to
It's
see
like-
that you still have your appetites. Now, I believe I've covered the majority of the information that I am ready to give out at the moment. Are there any questions that you'd like to ask before I leave you?
Yeah, from what you've already said, it sounds like most of my questions aren't going to get answered anyway.
Yeah, one should not pry too deeply into the matters of their employers, shall we say?
Owners, you mean?
Yeah. You can look at it however you like. You were purchased, and you do indeed have some tasks which you will need to carry out, but it's not as though you're formally enslaved or anything.
Come on, look on the bright side, little rat man.
Sorry, choking on coffee. Yeah. Excuse me.
Now, if you will examine those data pads in front of you, you should have a document with information. And so, if you guys look in your journals, you'll see that concerning the station, which you'll be going into. I'm sure that you'll read through it, and it will be quite helpful to you. If you have other questions about the station, ask Sparky. He has a general knowledge of the station and can instruct you. Beyond that, if you have no other questions or inquiries for me at this time, I have other matters that I can be attending to.
Okay then.
Very well.
We'll be in contact later or whatever.
Yes, we shall. I shall contact you again at a later date, and I'm sure that you will not disappoint me. Goodbye. And so the projection winks out of existence, leaving you two alone in the ship. And
Well, the view in here just got better.
you hear
Come on, little rat.
the door kind of slides open, and Sparky kind of trundles in. That is a good one. You were indicating that you found her appearance to be displeasing. Would you like muffins? I have baked them for you specially.
I want muffins.
He's carrying a little tray of muffins.
Check out the robot. He thinks he's pretty cool.
It's cuter than you are.
The robot has somehow, it seems he's tried to put on an apron, but all he succeeded in doing was like tying it like a cape onto his face. But he carries a tray of muffins in. They are hot, and I have put space butter on them, so they should be good and moist if you would like to eat some.
I'm gonna eat one.
What do you mean he's cuter than I am? I'm mothershly and adorable.
If that's what you think.
Come
I
now.
got charisma coming out my arse, too.
Come now, master.
Really? I thought that was a tail.
I just shoved like a whole muffin in my mouth.
And you can too. Isoki have cheek pouches. You can actually store even like a handgun or something in there. I think you could store up to like 4 handguns in your cheek pouches.
And in that case, I literally put a muffin in each pouch. And when I keep coughing on that coffee. It's just like stuck in there.
Don't breathe coffee, Wayne.
Yeah, it tries to kill you. Anyway, I like grab a muffin and I shove it in my mouth, but like my fist, the muffin, and part of my arm goes in my mouth. I stuff it down in the cheek, pull my arm back out, grab another muffin, and stick it in the other cheek.
And then grab a third muffin and start eating that one, saving the other 2 for later.
There we go.
Because you can actually do that. I mean, like I said, it's extra storage space, and it's hidden. So unless someone like pats down your cheek pouches to see if there's anything hidden in there, you can try to smuggle stuff in there.
Nice.
It's much better than a prison wallet.
Don't touch the pen. You know where that's been.
Oh, I can't wait for that movie to come out on disc because
Focus.
that was awesome.
Gameplay. Go.
Come now, Master Wreckage. Just look at those chubby cheeks. Of course you are adorable. And he does like this really awkward like cheek pinch.
Hakeem was like, no, this is how you do it. And shows him how to do the little pinch with the face shake. And like pulls on the little hair while she's doing it.
I keep muting you on Discord because I keep having the echo, but somehow it keeps unmuting you. So I keep having to take my earbud out to actually hear what you're saying. Because otherwise it's just like you talking over you, and I'm like, what's she saying?
So yeah, you guys eat. You're definitely feeling a bit stronger now. About halfway through your meal, the medic bot kind of floats in and injects you with some sort of serums, or at least attempts to. I don't know if you are going to try to resist that or something. I don't want to speak for you.
Does it go for chemo or wreckage first?
I guess.
Or is it like double handing?
I mean, it could, but let's just do it randomly. So, one is wreckage, 2 it's chemo. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it's wreckage. So it's kind of floating over by you, and kind of says, "Hold still." Well, I guess this is a different voice. What's it? The robot goes, "Hold still. This will sting slightly."
All right, get back. I've already been probed enough today.
You are still weak from the stasis. You need to take this injection. Please hold still.
I hold still.
So it kind of like swabs a little area on your tail, and then injects it, sticks it with a like a 3-inch needle.
Hey,
tail.
Hey, be careful with that.
Don't worry.
Those tails are sensitive, you know.
I am aware. I am fully loaded with Yosoki anatomy. But this is also the best place for the injection, unless you wish me to shave a patch in your fur.
Shave him, shave him, shave him.
There are several places hidden by clothing that I could shave, including your rump and your chest.
Just do it in the tail.
Go with the butt.
Very well. There is only 3 more injections to go. Please try to bear with me. So yeah, goes through the injections. So then he comes up to Kima next and kind of scans you and goes, "Oh, you are taking very well to being woken from your cryogenic stasis. You will only need this 1 injection." And he pulls out a much smaller needle than any of the ones that he used on Wreckage, and kind of swabs a place on your forearm and injects you.
Are you shitting me?
I'm just better than you. I mean, come on. You're like this tiny little rat. Come on. You're so adorable, though.
So yeah, you guys actually you feel like a worming sensation going through your body after the injections, and you're almost immediately feeling quite a bit better after that. The mild nausea is going away. The last remnants of the chill you had been feeling are fading quickly.
I cross my legs.
Yeah, so he then kind of floats back out. So he said, "So you guys are presumably continuing to like finish up your meal now?"
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, is there anything you want to do during the completion of your meal before moving on?
I do have a question out of character.
Okay.
Because I don't remember when I was a rat folk in Pathfinder, and I don't know if it's any different here anyway. But can I use my tail to do things? Like, is it prehensile?
Some things, but I don't think it's like fully prehensile to where you could like pick up a coffee cup and drink out of it or anything.
Okay.
I would say think about if our rats could do something with their tail, and if they can do it, then you could do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And yes, the fact that we have pet rats is part of the reason why I have an affinity for playing rats.
Dun, dun, dun.
Because I know rats are actually adorable.
Well, you were also like a 6-foot mouse for how many years? Anyway, yeah, so you guys finish up the meal. And so then once you're finished, Sparky has been kind of fussing over the two of you the whole time. And once you guys wrap up, he says, "Very good. Your appetite seems to have fully returned, and I hope the meal was to your liking." Yes, I pressed the button on the food generator myself. I am very proud of how they turned out.
The muffins were good enough. I'm still enjoying them.
That is good. If you want more, just let me know. I am great at pressing buttons. If you are ready, we can go fetch your gear.
Is there any like paper or something on the table, or is it all electronic?
Yeah, it's all electronic.
It'd be funny if the robot's name is Stanley. Just sits there pushing buttons.
Nope, his name is Sparky. Okay, now you guys, those data pads are yours, so you can keep them. Rebecca, cool. That's your basic computer. Wayne, did you grab a computer? Or no, you don't need to because you actually have the little neocortex, right?
I have a computer in my brain.
Yeah. So you probably noticed there's a little kind of like a number of things on you are not organic. There's a little port above your right temple, and you've noticed that one of your legs is prosthetic, and any other kind of non-specific.
I think part of my throat is, you know how the metal guy in Deadpool looks kind of like he's got metal overlaid?
Mm-hmm.
Like almost like shiplap metal. I don't know what you'd call that. But anyway, that's a little bit how part of my throat looks.
Okay. Yeah, and then I think one of your arms is prosthetic. You've got a prosthetic leg.
Just a prosthetic leg.
Okay.
Both of my arms are still me.
Okay. Do you have is part of your tail prosthetic?
No.
Okay.
It's all natural, baby.
For now. Did Riven ever get it? Didn't Riven get his tail cut off at one point? I feel like that happened.
No, it was an ear.
An ear, that was it.
Yeah.
I knew something got chopped off.
Ear with the piercing.
Yep.
I was so unhappy.
So yeah. Anyway, he kind of leads you back to your rooms, and laid out on your beds are your gear. So whatever stuff you bought, there's backpacks and grenades, guns, Kima. There's a wicked-looking gauntlet with spiked fingers, the ends of which end in these injection needles.
Yes.
You kind of strap it on, and it immediately just feels right. And you're able to, with kind of just a simple command, retract and extend the spikes, so you can still, retract them and shake someone's hand or whatever without stabbing them. Or you can shake someone's hand and then extend the spikes and inject them while they're not expecting it.
Yeah.
Various vials of poison and other things. There's a
Well,
small
I'm not sure.
pistol and the armor, which is this very. It's a smooth black material, which fits perfectly to your skin as you put it on. Are you going to change your clothing that you're wearing on top of the armor, or are you kind of sticking with what you have already?
I'm sticking with what I have on top.
Okay. Rek, would you like to describe some of your gear?
So while I'm in my room, though, I go over to the little closet thing and I have it make a button.
Like a
Button?
a shirt button type button?
Yes.
Okay. It does that.
Thank you.
What color is the button?
It is purple.
Okay. So you now have a purple button in your possession.
Thank you.
Rek, would you like to describe some of your gear?
I have a very dark colored, almost light absorbent armor that I'm going to put on under my current clothing, so I still have the long leather jacket. I have a couple of pistols that I'm going to strap on my hips, and one of those belt things with the batteries on it going across my chest, but it's under the jacket.
You're not going to do kind of like the Doc Holliday holsters where they're like kind of up on your chest and you draw them crossways?
No.
Okay. Are they actually on your hips, or are you going to conceal them in the jacket?
Well, they're on my hips, but I have to pull the jacket back to grab them.
Okay.
So they're usually kind of concealed by the jacket.
Yeah.
But, you know, if the wind blows or I turn just right, you're going to see them.
Yep. As you're kind of like putting the armor on, you realize there's like a weird space on one of the legs that is has this almost invisible seam that you only notice as your hand kind of runs across it. And after messing with it for a minute, you realize that you can actually open up your leg, and there's inside is some sort of a storage space.
Cheek pouches and a leg pouch? Wow.
I put a couple of frag grenades in my leg, and I put a shot
That
grenade
won't
on the
end
strap
badly.
of my belt.
I know, right?
You just need to get like a, I don't know, like a crotch compartment, and then put grenades in that.
Well, I mean, it's not more dangerous to have a grenade in my leg than it is to have a grenade on my hip or in my backpack.
Yep. Yeah,
Which
and
I
another,
also have a backpack, I should add.
yeah, another thing that you have is there's a small, like a, so it's a small screen with little, like a connector out the back, and you plug that into that socket above your right temple, and it puts a little holographic screen across past your eye, which you can activate or deactivate as you see fit. But it allows you to access your computer and do other functions without needing to use your hands.
Nice.
And
So can I actually like talk to my computer in my head and have it do things, or do I have to use that screen?
yeah, you can just talk to your computer, and it actually has
Nice.
an AI. So you know, it's not like computer. What is 2 + 2? And it gives you the answer. You can actually like talk to it as if it were a person.
Hello, Jarvis.
Is that what you're naming it?
No.
You do need to decide on a
I
name.
think my computer was named Sparky.
Well, no, that's your drone. That's your drone. Oh yeah, you picked a drone, so you actually don't have a neocortex. You just have a data jack. That's right. So yeah.
I thought I got the neocortex too.
No, you have to pick one or the other.
Oh.
And you
Okay.
picked the
So I got
drone,
the drone.
so that's Sparky. And so you don't have a neocortex, but you do have a data jack. which allows
Okay.
you to do like at later levels you can do things like remote hacking and some neat stuff like that. So
So that robot that's been talking to us, you called Sparky. Is that my Sparky?
Yes.
Okay. So it looks like a...
Yes, that's how it was described.
Oh, okay.
Like the little ball thing with legs.
All right. Okay. I keep thinking of the one with all the arms as Sparky.
No, that's
That's the medical droid.
yeah, that's
Okay.
a medical droid. It's called Cleric Bot 234 or something like that. He's unimportant, so I'm not going to bother remembering his name. So just get over it. But no, Sparky is your drone. He's the little kind of roly robot who fed you muffins.
Cool.
Okay.
So he's not authorized to tell me more about myself, even though he technically belongs to me?
That's what he said.
That little asshat.
Language.
All right.
Yeah, you have to come up with some sci-fi name, but you can call him a little Schleem.
I've been using Schleem a lot. I need to come up with some others.
Yep. You can call him a real mother pronker. So anyway, yeah, you guys kind of strap your gear in. Everything feels, oddly familiar as you do it. And while old memories don't seem to be coming back, like muscle memory does, everything just immediately feels natural in your hands. As if it were built for you, which a lot of it was.
It probably was.
Yes. So, yeah, you guys are now all geared up.
Woohoo!
What would you like to do? You're in your
Well, I
respective
think
rooms.
we should have cued the BA montage of us locking and loading our gear.
Oh yeah, no, that was a thing, including Kima retracting and extending the claws on her gauntlet and kind of testing out her armor.
There's some kind of hard rock / techno type music playing.
Yep. Okay, you're geared up. You're in your respective rooms.
Cool.
Camera goes into close up on your character, and you get to say a catchphrase.
What is Kima's catchphrase, Rebecca?
Let's do this thing. I don't know.
In Soviet Russia, plant fertilize you. Or I guess it would be in Castroville, plant fertilize you. But anyway.
Would I even realize this stuff yet, though? So, I don't know.
Yeah, you're already like your kind of natural personality and proclivities are coming back. It's like if you still have all the same motivations, you just don't entirely understand their source. So
Yeah.
your kind of plant and nature loving ways are still firmly there. You just can't remember necessarily what events led to you being that way in your life.
Okay.
So yeah. What are you going to do? Now that
I'm
you're
gonna go
all-
out in the hallway.
Okay. The hallway is empty.
I'm gonna go the opposite direction of the way we went before.
Okay. So after a short walk, you continuing down the hallway, you enter what seems to be some sort of an observation deck. It's got a great big transparent window which kind of shudders with a blue energy every once in a while, or I guess I should say ripples with a blue energy every once in a while. And you can see out into the vast expanse of space. Stars twinkling in the distance, a few what you can definitely identify are planets, they look like stars but bigger at this distance. And the station in full view, slowly turning on its axis.
Cool. Is there anything else?
There is a potted plant in the corner.
I'm gonna go play with the potted plant, I guess. I don't know.
That sounds.
Okay. What about you, Rek?
I'm going to explore the ship that we're in. I'm going to go snooping, basically.
So, which way are you going? Are you going toward the observation deck, or are you going toward the mess hall?
Toward the mess hall.
Okay. So as you enter the mess hall, you can see Sparky standing off in one corner, just pressing a button over and over, and there is now like hundreds of muffins on trays.
I grabbed 2 more muffins and add them to my pouches.
Do you now have 4 muffins stored?
No, I have 3.
Okay.
And then I start snooping in the mess hall.
Okay. Yeah. It's got tables and benches and some devices that seem to be for generating food and beverages.
I push a button.
Which button?
The biggest one.
Okay. Yeah, nothing happens. You just get a little message pops up on the screen above it. Please make selection.
I push one of the smaller buttons.
Okay.
At random.
At random?
Yeah.
Okay. So the lights on the device kind of whir down and it goes dark.
I push the big button again.
Okay, nothing happens.
I smack it, and
Nothing
then I
happens.
walk away.
Okay.
I go back toward the observation deck.
Okay.
There's nothing else along the hallway?
There's a number of doors on the hallway. 2 of them opened into what were your cabins, and then if you open any of the other doors, they just open into identical rooms.
Okay. So I pretty much check every door.
Okay.
Just to see if anything is
inside
different.
one of them, it's slightly different. There's a poster on the wall of 2 dolphins doing it and like staring out at the viewer, making eyebrows.
That used to be your room, apparently.
Okay. So I make it all the way to the observation deck, checking the doors as I go along, and now I'm at the observation.
Okay.
So Kima's sitting next to a potted plant and just like playing with its leaves and talking to it.
I look at you, raise an eyebrow, and then continue inspecting the observation deck.
Kima's little antennae are kind of like wiggling and vibrating, and the plant seems especially lush and large. Kima, you having seen it from before and after, the plant is much more healthy than when you had entered initially, and is growing at an actually visible rate.
Yeah.
After I see this happening for a few moments, I say to her, "This is a kinky thing for you, isn't it?"
Why would that just be your first thought?
I don't know.
It's just a
You look to be
friend.
enjoying yourself, and so does the plant.
Yeah. Everything where 2 people enjoy each other just becomes kinky.
Hey. I am what I am.
You are what you are, and you're a rat. An ugly rat.
But you didn't love him.
Yep. I don't know, maybe I used to.
Dun dun dun. Okay, yeah, so you see the exact same view that I just described to Kima.
Cool.
A large ship that looks like decked out like a flying hotel covered in neon signage goes by with a bunch of signs that are advertising like
escorts.
That and various alcoholic beverages and gambling and etc. Yes, it is like a floating Las Vegas. And it kind of goes slowly floating by.
Noise.
Okay.
So I go back to my room and pull out the information on where we're going.
Okay. So if you go into your journal, you can see the information I gave you. It's got a link to a page with a bunch of information. It's got a nice picture of the whole thing. So if you look at it, it has a bottom part, which is called the spike. That's generally where the poor people live. A lot of that really was not seemingly intended for human habitation. It seems to have been...
Hang on. You're saying which journal? The journal in Hero Lab?
Here, baby. This right here.
Yeah, the journal tab in Roll20.
Cool. I was looking in Hero Lab. That's what I was.
Yeah. So there's the spike on the bottom. It seems to have been initially intended more for machinery and maintenance, but as the population of Absalom Station has grown, people have started going down there, and that's generally where the poor people are. On the top, there are these arms coming out. These are aptly enough called the arms. They're generally used for docking, and there are buildings for people who are only staying in the station for a shorter time. The dome is at the center and the top. That's where the nicest stuff is. That's where rich people are. A lot of it is actually maintained with vast gardens and parks, as well as corporate complexes and the like. The ring is the part between the dome and the arms, and that is more of a middle ground. There are, myriad businesses and more middle-class habitations. And then outside where you currently are is the Armada, which I've already described, so I won't go over it again. And then you can read more details at your convenience.
No.
Okay.
There was the words Starstone Reactor in red text, and I clicked on it, and it says there is no content for this page, and I'm like, no!
Well, stop clicking around to things that aren't on that page. You're not supposed to know that yet. Well, I mean, I guess you can, but just remember that your character doesn't know anything that isn't on this one page, because that's what you've been provided now. It would be easy if you wanted to access the local infosphere and ask certain questions. You could easily find out about the Starstone Reactor. It's not exactly a secret.
The local what?
What? Infosphere, is that what you were asking about?
Yeah.
It's the internet. In space! So each planet has its own infosphere, which is a kind of a localized internet, essentially. And they have a lot of shared information, but certain infospheres have more specialized information. So, like, if you were on Akaton, you'd probably see a lot more information on Akaton than if you were on Castrovel or Eox.
Cool.
But you can easily, at any time, use your computer and do a space Google search.
So being that there are gaps in my memory and everything, how much, because I'm good with computers and technology and stuff, is skills,
but your skills are entirely intact.
So I would know that I could do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like you knew that the machine in your room would make you clothes, and that weird thing plugged into your face, you know that you can do a space Google and find stuff out pretty easily.
Cool. I use my space phone and do a space Google on the space internet.
Okay. I'm assuming you're immediately going to sites with naked rat ladies.
Or are you into other types of ladies?
I'm going to look up information on the, hang on just a sec, the Elebrians.
Okay. The Elebrians are a race whose most notable feature is their elongated skulls. They are natives of Eox, a planet that is now an undead world. Nobody is entirely certain exactly what happened, but it seems that the Eoxians and two unnamed planets were at war, and the Eoxians used some sort of a device that seems to have destroyed those two planets, turning them into the Diaspora, which is essentially an asteroid belt. But the blowback from the device seems to have also destroyed their world, making it uninhabitable for normal living life, which is very redundant now that I think about it. So the Elebrians, being powerful magicians, their solution was to turn themselves into essentially, they're not quite called liches, but they're basically liches. I forget what they're called in this setting. But they are now undead creatures who live forever based on their advanced sorcery. And all of the creatures, well, I shouldn't say all, the majority of the creatures who now live on Eox are undead of one kind or another.
Sounds like a fun place to go for a vacation. All right.
Yeah, if you like radiation and ghouls munching on your giblies.
Well, I don't, so that's why I said not.
Yep.
But apparently, do I know that I... Okay. So do I know that I know Eoxian?
Yes.
Okay. So I must have some kind of a connection with this.
Presumably.
Well, you just...
Presumably.
But you also know a number of languages, and Eox is one of the main planets in the Pact Worlds.
Ah, okay.
I mean, it's not like there's some weird outsider that nobody talks to. They're one of the Pact signatories. In fact, as you are looking up the Eoxians, it seems that the Eoxians were actually the ones who suggested the Pact in the first place, based on the need for mutual defense against the Vesk, which are a warlike race of lizard men from a different solar system.
I space Google Dorvor Creel.
Okay. You were able to find a space LinkedIn profile for him. It seems that he's a fairly low-ranking Starfinder member who is often tasked with onboarding new potential entrants. And you find that he is a dwarf. If you'd like to roll a computers check, you can try and find out more.
27.
Okay. So, with a 27, you are able to find out that Dorvar Creel, I already answered that, so I'll just repeat it anyway. Dorvar Creel is a mid-ranking member of the Starfinder Society. Most of his work focuses on mineral prospecting, but he also takes an interest in mentoring new and prospective employees of the Society. Creel was a native of the Diaspora, the diffuse asteroid belt between Verces and Eox, and was known to have ties to dwarves and other mining groups in the region. He is an outspoken champion of miners' rights. Creel is active in challenging large corporate interests and who exploit individual miners and laborers, including a company called Astral Extractions. And that Creel has personally invested money in a company or a group called Hard Scrabble Collective, and he has also, you're able to find out by doing some like really creepy space Facebook stalking. We need to come up with better names for these. Spacebook's docking that at one point one of his cousins was a member of the Hardscrabble Collective, but that she died in a mining accident, which was reportedly the result of safety violations perpetrated by her contract employer, Astral Extractions.
Space Google Astral Extraction.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a another computer's check.
Holy cow. 11. I rolled a 1.
Astral Extractions is a powerful mining corporate conglomerate with business ties throughout the Pact Worlds. Most of the company's operations are centered in the diaspora and rocky moons of the outer planets, but it has also begun sending scout vessels into the vast in search of new claims. The company recently hired one of the Hardscrabble Collective's ships, the Acreon, for one of these exploratory missions.
Okay, I'm going to change gears a little bit and Space Google the Patron.
Okay. It comes up with a series of pornographic films about a rich.
Do any
man...
of the pornographic films include rat people?
Yeah, some of them do. The series is about essentially if Bruce Wayne were a sex addict and spent his money on that.
I click on one of the videos and 45 minutes later realize that I'm still watching.
Yeah, and so as you're watching, it kind of starts up with this little opening thing, and it says, Eoxian Reality Entertainment presents The Patron. And there's a bunch of heavy metal music, and then this entire thing goes on, and yeah, it's all super weird and fetishy. But yeah, you end up, like you said, 45 minutes later. Kima, that's been a while. Do you want to do anything else other than playing with your little pet plant?
After a little while, I move the plant into my room and then go looking for wreckage pretty much everywhere except his room, and then I go to his room and I just push the button to open the door.
Okay, so
okay, I am laying on my bed.
Wait.
No.
As you're going through the kitchen, what's his face? Sparky is like still humming, and he's like, and he now has stacked in crates all the way from the floor to the ceiling, just muffins. And he is still pressing that button.
Hey, wreckage? Or
Sparky.
What's his name? Sparky. Hey, Sparky, I think you should maybe find a new button to push. That's a lot of muffins.
Oh, I thought that you liked muffins. I will stop
do,
making them.
There's enough muffins there to last us like 1,000 years.
Oh, goody. 1,000 years of muffins together. I am a happy robot.
I won't live 1,000 years, Sparky.
Oh, don't talk like that. Of course you'll live. You just have to face life with the right attitude. Don't be a downer. But I will stop now.
I think I've got a new button for you to push. Let's go see if we can find wreckage. We need him.
Okay, let's go find him. Would you like a muffin as we travel?
Oh, yeah.
So he grabs like a crate of muffins and carries it with you as you walk through the rest of the ship. Okay, now you open the door into Wreckage's quarters.
Okay, so what do I see, Wayne?
I'm just laying on my bed, still dressed, but with my computer, a bottle of lotion, and a box of tissues, and I'm starting to unzip my space pants.
Oh, God, really?
Hey, haven't you heard of knocking?
It's a metal door. I'm not knocking on that.
Willow just chewed Rebecca out for having her shoes on the sofa.
Everyone heard.
Bad Becca.
Oh no!
Oops.
You have a spill. Yep, your mama did it. That's fine. Okay, I've got to clean up orange juice off of the floor.
Okay.
Stop yelling, Willow.
Oh, wreckage, is there a mess in your pants that you are cleaning up with those tissues? Let me help.
I don't think he'd made a mess yet.
Oh, are his nether regions feeling dry then? Is that the purpose of the lotion? I can also help with that.
Just get out of here, Sparky.
Very well. Would you like a muffin before I go?
No, thank you. I still have 3 left.
Very well. And so then he kind of like walks out.
I kind of turn away from. I can never remember your name.
Kima.
Rebecca's character.
Kima.
Kima. I turn away from Kima, and you can tell from behind that I went zoop, and zipped my zipper back up the rest of the way. What is it you want?
So while you were turned away, Kima tries to stealthily put something on your clothing.
Do you want to use your mage hand ability?
Yes.
Okay. So she needs to roll stealth, and I need to roll perception, or?
Sure. Yeah, and go ahead and roll perception at like a -5 because you're kind of distracted and whatnot right now.
Okay. Well, I'll have to roll in a
18.
moment because I'll have to roll in a moment because I'm in the middle of cleaning up. There was a whole glass full of orange juice, and it's the kind with pulp. Got turned over on the floor. So even though most of the juice is up, the pulp stick to the floor.
Yeah.
So it's taking a little bit of work.
So would you like to say what you're sticking to wreckage, Rebecca?
The purple button.
What was the purple button for?
I'm putting a purple button on your clothes. That's all you know. Well, you don't know.
Okay. But I mean, is it a button? Like you
Like
push or a button for clothes?
Like a shirt button. It has 4 holes, can be sewn in place. Except this being the future, this is a self-sewing button. So all she has to do is put it there and it'll sew itself on.
Hopefully it doesn't sew itself to me. Okay, I can roll now. And I was doing perception at a -5, right?
Yeah. Because you're a bit distracted and flustered right now, for obvious reasons.
15.
Okay.
So I think you succeed.
Yep.
Okay, so there's now a purple space button on my back.
Woohoo! And you have no idea. I'm gonna leave and be like, well, I guess I'll talk to you when you're done.
I'm ready. What do you want to talk about? I turn back.
I'm already out the door and the door's closed.
I follow you. Hey, what do you want to talk about?
Okay, so when the door opens back up, I'm whispering to Sparky and look entirely innocent when you come back out.
Sparky goes, hee hee, hee hee, that is so true.
But what I was whispering was I was telling Sparky he should start pushing the purple button on wreckage. That seems like an appropriate button for him to push over and over, and it'll get a great reaction out of wreckage.
That sounds great. I will do that. Thank you so much, Kima.
I pay it no mind because I'm not suspicious at the moment of what you're doing. So I just ask you again, What were you wanting to talk about, Kima?
Well, it seemed like we should probably get ready to start our mission and stuff, so...
Yeah. You seem not to mind working for this patron. I make air quotes.
Well, I don't see that we have a lot of choice in the matter. Can't say I remember a whole lot, so we might as well be busy on something, and this seems as good a lead as any to get started with stuff.
I think usually I'm not one for asking too many questions, but when there are so many unknowns and I can't even remember who the hell I am, much less who this person who bought us, I feel a little bit uncomfortable. My gut is not too happy.
Well, the way I see it, you can either go jump off the bridge or get to work.
Yeah, I think we should definitely proceed, but with caution. Anyway, let's get on with it, I guess.
So, are we ready to proceed on our grand adventure then?
Yes.
Yay, I am so excited. And he claps his little robot hands. We are finally back on. And so he kind of like goes over and opens up a little door at the very end, which was like a little closet space, and he kind of like grabs a little sack and stuff, and he says, "I'll be just a second. I'm getting my things before we head out. I would suggest that you do the same with anything you would like to bring with us." And then you can see him strap these like 2 huge laser cannons onto his shoulders. And then he says, "There we go. I'm ready. Shall we head out?"
Yes. So I grabbed the stuff out of my room, including the plant.
Cool. Yeah, so he kind of the laser cannons they seem to be, they telescope, so he's able to kind of retract them to a certain extent and then roll back up into a ball, and then he says, "This way, yay, yay, yay," as he goes down a hallway. And presuming you follow him, he leads you to what seems to be a little kind of like docking bay, and there's a small shuttle attached to one of the bays. He says, "Here it is, our shuttle. This will bring us to the station."
Alrighty.
Okay, so assuming you all kind of like pile in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you guys are quickly shooting through space, kind of weaving through these ships that you've already seen around you. It seems that the majority of them are kind of centered further in, so it gets a little bit thicker the closer you get to the station. And after a couple of minutes, you're getting closer in. The ship is on autopilot unless one of you wants to manually take over flying it.
Nope.
So,
I'm a pilot.
Yeah, if you want to fly it, you're welcome to kind of take over.
I was referencing something that I knew would make Rebecca laugh.
Right. So you find yourselves after docking on this platform. You can.
I do have a question. How long have we been recording?
We're wrapping up.
Okay, cool.
So, you find yourself on this platform down here. The brightly lit docks of Absalom Station are abuzz with activity as travelers bustle by, preparing to board or disembarking with starships bound to or from any of dozens of worlds. Brash and swaggering star pilots, scurrying Yosoki mechanics, and expectant colonists mingle with enigmatic Kasatha mystics, hard-faced asteroid miners, imposing Vesk mercenaries, and more, creating a microcosm of the abundance and variety of life in the packed worlds. New arrivals meet friends, loved ones, or business contacts, and are whisked away into the humming activity of daily life on the vast space station. Beyond them, ground crews tend to docked ships and dock workers in mechanized cargo lifters load and unload freight and baggage. A sharp tang of ozone hangs in the air, a byproduct of electrical discharges from the docked ships. But underneath, the station's atmosphere has a slightly used aroma. The docking bay's deck plates thrum beneath your feet, though whether it's from the passage of innumerable feet or the vibrations of the station's power conduits and air recycling system is impossible to say. So go ahead and make me a perception check to try and pick out your dwarf who said he would meet you here out of the crowd.
I see him. He's right there.
You are very funny. I am laughing. Oh yeah,
23.
We need to get a token for Sparky.
Willow, it's fine. Just put your stickers away.
And Kima?
10.
Okay. So Kima, you're able to spot the dwarf down here, in case you hadn't already seen him. And Wreckage, you were able to spot him easily as well. He's kind of an older gentleman, wearing fairly rough clothing, but you see the Starfinder badge emblazoned on his coat. Now, Wreckage, you notice something that's a little unusual. Making their way rather furtively into what appears to be positions of cover, you see a number of rather rough-looking individuals slowly creeping into the docking bay.
Dude.
I'm thinking for a second. I wave at the guys who are creeping.
You wave at them? Really? You're just like, hey, I saw you.
Yep.
Okay. So you kind of see a confused look from one of the ones on the. Let me see which side is which. All right. Okay. So you see a rather confused look from one of the ones on the left, the one that you waved at, and then suddenly everything breaks out into laser fire as the ones on the right whip out their guns and start firing. The ones on the left immediately crouch down into cover and return fire, and you see the dwarf, Dwarver Creel, who had been raising his hand to wave at you. Suddenly his face goes blank and he collapses onto the ground, and you see blood pooling out from the wound onto the ground next to him, and it spells out the words, "To be continued!"
No!
Right.
I liked that dwarf. He sounded like a cool guy.
Huh?
Hopefully we can save him next time.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we might rewind just a little bit back to when you first spotted them instead of just waving. Don't understand that choice, but okay. So...
Well, the idea was that if it would be sneaky, I was just kind of letting them know that I knew that they were there.
Okay, fair enough. So let's go ahead and do our little wrap-up. What did Kima learn?
That she can make plants grow really, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Like a lot.
Yeah. What did Rec learn?
Space Google is really useful.
Oh,
You
indeed.
can find porn on it.
You can find, well, not just porn. You can find out information about people and things on it.
You can read about the porn before you watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this was a pretty good start to the campaign. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the sci-fi setting and everything.
Yeah.
You'll get your first taste of actual combat next time. This one was largely just role-playing, but trust me, there is plenty of combat in this campaign, so it won't be quite like the last one, which was a little light on it. So thank you guys.
I mean, I know there's crossfire, but did I notice, like, whether the person on the left or the people on the right were the ones that shot the dwarf?
They were shooting each other, and he got caught in crossfire.
Well, let's
least that's what it sounded like.
leave those questions for next time.
Okay.
And for now, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you had a good time. I know I did. And I will see you guys next session. So, bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.